Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Zach's Credit Card Guide. This week we're talking about 3 elevated bonus offers on some pretty popular credit cards. The first up is the IHG Premier Card from Chase. Right now the public offer is 80,000 IHG points, but there is a targeted offer out there for 125,000 points and a $50 statement credit. The way to check if you are targeted for this is to log into your IHG account through their website and then navigate to the offers, and you should be able to find some banner ads and stuff like that for it there. If you are targeted for it, you'll see a link to apply, and I would recommend going for it because that is a historically high offer. So if this is a card you've been looking for, that is a good offer to take. The regular public 80,000 point offer is kind of the normal one. It has never gone lower than that, but it has gone up to over 100,000 just publicly available. So if you're not in a rush to get this card and you're not targeted, I would hold off. Now the elevated offer is 125,000 IHG points after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months. Now IHG points are commonly valued at around half a cent each, so that elevated bonus is almost worth $700 when you account for the $50 statement credit as well. It's worth about $675, which is pretty good for a sign-up bonus. This card does have an $89 annual fee, but of course year one it makes a ton of sense because of that sign-up bonus, but going forward after that it's really up to you. You do get a free night certificate every year worth up to 40,000 points. So if you're paying $89 for that, you're basically getting a discount on a room, if you want to think of it that way, but that makes it a keeper card. So there's really no harm in keeping it long term. If you take even one trip a year, you can find an IHG property somewhere and you're paying that $89 annual fee, but you're getting a free night that's worth more than that. So that's why it makes sense to keep long term. Now I don't normally recommend using these co-branded cards for your normal everyday spend. It's usually better to use a generic points currency like Chase UR points, Amex MR points, something like that. They're just a little bit more flexible, but if you are interested, the earning category on this card is 10 points per dollar at IHG properties, so it might make sense to use when you're staying there, and then it earns 2 times on gas stations, dining, and supermarkets, and then 1 point on everything else. So of course on the everything else it makes no sense. Just get something like the Freedom Unlimited that gets 1.5 on everything. So that's what I mean, that you want to use the right card for the right transaction, but that's a whole different video that we did a couple weeks ago. But if you are going to use this card all the time, again, if that's what you want to do, go for it. If you do manage to spend $20,000 in a calendar year, they're going to give you 10,000 extra points. Now that is not even enough for a stay, so that's not even a benefit I even care about, nor should you, but it is there. Now one interesting benefit on this card is that you get your 4th night free if you book a stay of 4 nights or more using points. So if you are going on a longer trip and you just want to pick a property and stay there, you do get a 4th night free on this card. So that is an interesting benefit. You do want to research exactly how it works, but that is a benefit of this card, which could be pretty interesting depending on how you use it. The card does give you their Platinum status, which has a couple interesting benefits, especially for a card of this tier. It allows you complimentary room upgrades. Now that of course is subject to availability and everything else. It's not a guarantee, it never is with these cards, but you will be eligible for free room upgrades. They'll also give you extended checkout, which is a benefit that I've used before. It's just nice sometimes, maybe you have a little bit later flight in the afternoon or you just need more time for whatever reason. You can usually get a couple more hours to check out. So a lot of times hotels want you out by like 10 or 11 a.m. Sometimes they'll even extend it to noon, 1, 2 p.m. sometimes, depending on what status you have. And you also get complimentary internet. But a lot of hotels give you that anyway, it seems like, no matter what status or anything you have. I don't think I've ever had to like pay for internet or go without. But anyway, it comes with this status. It also comes with a $100 credit towards Global Entry or TSA PreCheck, which retail is $100 if you go for Global Entry. So year one, never mind the bonus, you're already making good if you don't already have Global Entry. And if you've already got it, if this is not your first card, you could always give it to a family member or something. If you're going to get this card anyway, you may as well not let the credit go to waste. You could also see when your Global Entry is going to expire and just make sure you'll have a credit on some card. Like if you had like the Sapphire Reserve and you've just kept it the whole time, you'll get your credit on that card anyway. So all I'm saying is don't let it go to waste. If you know somebody that can use it, it's free for you anyway. Maybe ask them to buy you lunch or something. You know, don't charge them $100 for it. You're getting it for free. But like make them buy you lunch or something like that, or just give it to them, whatever you want to do. But anyway, that credit is available on this card once every 4 years. And there's no foreign transaction fee on the card. So This is a good one to take traveling if you don't have a different one that offers no foreign transaction fees. Like if you only have the Freedom Unlimited or something, you don't want to take that with you traveling. You want to make sure you take a card with you that doesn't have a foreign transaction fee. What's also awesome about this card is that it has a free downgrade path. And we've talked about this before, but when you're applying for cards, it is nice to know ahead of time. If it's one that you just know you're going to keep for a few years, then you don't need to really worry about this, although it's good to keep in mind. But if this is a card that you're thinking you want to get year one and then reconsider in year two to see if it's worth it to you long term, this one does have a free downgrade path. So try not to all out cancel cards unless you don't really have a choice. If there is a way to product change it to a similar card that doesn't have an annual fee, which usually has less benefits and things like that, but there's no annual fee. A lot of times these banks will just let you change it into that card, and then you just stick it in a drawer or whatever, but it keeps that account history alive, keeps a good relationship with the bank. They don't really like you just opening and closing cards all the time. That's not really what the system is designed for, and it can get you on their bad side. So if you can at all help it, try to downgrade into no annual fee cards, and then just stick it in a drawer, take it out every once in a while, go buy a pack of gum. But anyway, the point is this card has that option. So I would recommend that if in year two or beyond, at some point it doesn't make sense to you anymore, you can just product change it into that no annual fee card. And lastly, like all Chase cards, this is affected by 524. If you don't know what that is, please go watch that video. I'll throw a card right here for you. But basically, if you've opened 5 or more personal credit cards in the past 24 months, you're not going to get approved for the card, so don't even bother, don't waste the inquiry. And that's it for the IHG card. The other two cards we're going to talk about, they're both Amex cards and they're both for Hilton. One's a personal card, one's a business card. So we'll talk about the personal card first. Now there are two offers that are kind of floating around out there. Now Amex is a little tricky on how to find these best offers. You can try just going to the regular public page and seeing what you can find. If that doesn't work, try incognito mode like through Chrome, see if that works. Also try referral links, and I've talked about this before, it's not just because I want you to use my link. I do, don't get me wrong, but half of Amex's strategy is that they want people talking about their cards and driving that referral business. They want people talking about it and recommending it to their friends. That's part of their strategy. So I do appreciate it if you use my referral link. It is down below. Check that out, see if you see these offers. If you don't, then try some of these other methods like I'm talking about. So try incognito mode, just keep clicking around, maybe come back in a few hours, try it again. Anyway, Amex is kind of tricky. It's kind of like fishing. And once you find that offer, go ahead and apply. So anyway, we'll talk about the personal card first. There is an offer floating around with 75,000 Hilton points and a $100 statement credit, which is not quite a historically high offer, but it is still pretty good. So if you do manage to find it, it's worth jumping on. And that comes with spending $1,000 in the first 3 months. Now, Hilton points are a little bit special in that it takes a lot of points to get a free night. So the points themselves are not really worth as much as other currencies. They're only about 0.4 cents a piece. So this offer is worth about 400 bucks. Now, because it takes so many points to get stays, all of the Hilton cards have what appears to be really generous earning categories. But again, like I said, the points are really not worth that much by themselves. So you don't want to get overly excited about it. But this particular card gets 7 points per dollar at Hilton properties, 5 points per dollar at restaurants, supermarkets, and gas stations, and then 3 points on everything else. So like I said, if you're kind of new to this, it's easy to get excited about that. Oh, I get 3 points per dollar on everything. Whereas I have like my Chase Sapphire Reserve that only gets 3 points per dollar on travel and dining. That's a bad way to think about it because the points are not worth the same. This does give you Hilton Silver status, which isn't really anything worth getting excited about. What is nice is that this has no annual fee. So the thing with Amex cards, we talked earlier about product changing. So you get a card with an annual fee, and at some point your situation changes. You don't want to keep that card for some reason. If you can, change it within that card family to a no annual fee basic version, which this one is for the Amex Hilton cards. Now here's the thing with American Express, and we've talked about this before, but this is for the benefit of anyone who's new to this. So with American Express specifically, once you hold a card, you can never get a bonus for that card again. So there are other Amex Hilton cards with pretty high annual fees, like the Hilton Aspire card, which by itself is a awesome keeper card, but we're not talking about that card today. But let's say you get that one. It has a $450 annual fee, very easy to break even or even come out ahead on that card without spending any money. But anyway, you get that card, has a $450 annual fee, but let's just say you don't want to keep it anymore for whatever reason. So you get that card, product change it to this one. And this is the first time you've ever had this basic card. But you're not going to get a bonus because all you did was product change it. Let's say a year later, one of these bonuses comes around again, like we're talking about today, for this card, and you go to apply for it to get a second one, you're not going to get a bonus because you've already had it before. So the thing with American Express specifically is on these no annual fee downgrade path cards, you want to get them first, get the bonus, and then get the higher annual fee cards later at some point. But at least now you've locked in that bonus. So that's how it works for Amex. There are some cards like the Delta Blue, which is the same thing for the Delta cards in Amex, but that typically has a piddly little bonus that is really not worth getting excited about. So you could just skip that one probably. It's usually like 10,000 Delta miles, which is not really worth getting excited about. So you could just skip that, go for the higher ones and do whatever you want to do. But this one has a bonus worth about $400, so it's probably worth picking up. And then the last card we're talking about this week is the same card, but a business version. And it is a little bit different, but it's an Amex Hilton card. If you're not familiar with business cards, I have a whole video about that topic. I'm gonna throw a card at the end of the video for you, so just stay put, watch this one. The really short version is if you're doing anything on the side that makes you money, you can apply for business cards. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. But anyway, I'm gonna throw a card at the end of the video for you to check it out if you're unfamiliar with that topic. So anyway, the business card. This one has a 125,000 point offer and a $100 statement credit for spending $3,000 in the first 3 months. And like the personal version, this is not quite a historically high offer, but it is close enough that if you've been waiting to pick up this card, this is a good time to go for it. Now the earnings on this card, again, if you wanted to use it for other stuff, is a little bit better than the personal card. It gets 12 points per dollar at Hilton properties, 6 points with restaurants, flights booked directly with airlines or through Amex Travel, car rentals booked directly with the rental companies or again through Amex Travel, gas station, wireless telephone services, and shipping purchases, and then 3 points per dollar on everything else. So again, it is a business card, so a lot of those categories are obviously kind of business specific, but most people have a wireless bill. Most people end up traveling and renting with car rental companies. But anyway, those are the bonus categories on this card. It comes with Hilton Gold status, which is okay, but again, nothing really worth getting excited about. And it has a weekend free night reward every year, but you have to spend $15,000 per year to get it. So again, if you just want to get one card and just use that and you don't care about the rest of this hobby, cool, you might be able to hit that and get your free night. But for most of us, you probably don't want to put that much spending on this type of card. Now, one interesting thing is that this does come with 10 free priority pass entries per year. So this is one of the cheaper ways up front to get some level of priority pass access. Now, that doesn't include guests or anything. Basically, you swipe it for 10 people, if you want to think of it that way, whether that's you or guests or whatever, but you get 10 free ones a year. Now, a lot of people, that might be sufficient for, even if you have a spouse and maybe a kid or something like that. So that is something to consider. It does come with 10 free entries every year. And it does carry a $95 annual fee that's not waived in the first year. So that's it for this week's video, guys. I just wanted to go over 3 elevated offers right now. These are all hotel cards, so if you have any trips planned, these are all great options. Like I said, especially year 1, they all make a ton of sense, especially the Hilton personal card because it doesn't have an annual fee. So that one is prime to go for. The IHG card I think is a keeper card itself because again, that annual free night that you get just anyway outweighs the annual fee, and there's a free downgrade path. So that card's great, nothing wrong with that one. Again, affected by 524, so keep that in mind. The Amex personal card, no annual fee, prime to pick up. The business Hilton card may or may not be a keeper card long term. It has a $95 annual fee and there's not a lot that offsets that. Again, it does have priority pass, but if you get that through a different card, you probably don't need that. So that might be a good one to reassess in year 2 if it makes sense for you long term. So that's it for this week's video, guys. My question for you guys is, do you already have one of these cards? Are you gonna go for one? Let me know down below. Again, for the Amex cards, I do have a referral link down there. I do appreciate if you use it, but make sure you are getting the highest offer. If you are new to this and you want some one-on-one advice, I like to nerd out on this stuff, so head to my Facebook page. The link is down in the description. Drop the page a like, send me a message, and we can talk some strategy. If you do appreciate content like this, if you think you get value from the channel, please leave the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Pretty easy and free way to support the channel. That's all I've got for you this time, guys. See you at the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up. Here's some other videos that I think you'll really like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. See you at the next one.